Today, I'm going to be talking about the trout magnet and the top 10 colorways that you can use to catch more stock trout with the trout magnet. What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, I love the trout magnet. This is one of my favorite lures to catch stock trout. It's a little grub lure that you can put on a small little 1/64 jig head, and you can catch it in multiple different bodies of water with multiple different techniques. And the trout magnet is something I never leave the house with when I go out stock trout fishing, whether it's under a bobber or I'm fishing it straight off the bottom. Before we get into the top 10 colorways, let's talk about the techniques you can use with the trout magnet to catch stock trout. The first technique is my favorite, which is bobber and jig straight up. Now, if you buy the trout magnet kits, they come with the trout magnets as well as 1/64 ounce jig heads and sometimes little bobbers depending on which kit you get. Now, I just love the bobber and jig trout magnet fishing. It's super simple setup. You just cast and go and you can cover a ton of water. Second technique is to drift it off the bottom. That's just with a jig head and maybe some split shot where you're bouncing that trout magnet off the bottom in some slow flowy moving water in some little creeks, some little streams, and sometimes some smaller river systems. Third way is to just jig it. So you just attach the jig to your line and you're just going straight up and down with pulses up and down trying to jig for those trout. And then the fourth technique is a cast and retrieve with a jig pause every so often. So you cast out your trout magnet and you get a little bit of a jig every so often, but you're kind of jigging it on the retrieve back. And those are the four techniques that I love to use with the trout magnet. Now, from a rod, reel, line setup, I like to go with anywhere between a 6.5 and a 7.5 foot light action rod, somewhere in the 2 to 6 pound range. I love 10-pound braided line for farther cast, and you're going to tie that 10-pound braid to 6-pound or 4-pound fluorocarbon, something really light and easy to fight the fish with. And for a reel, a 1,000 or 2,000 size reel is just perfect. It's going to have a lot of capacity for line, and it's going to hold up against all the conditions and something you can put on there for years and get a lot out of it. Now, trout magnet comes in about 50 different colors, but today we're going to be focusing on the top 10 colors that are going to help you catch stock trout, starting with number 10. Now, starting off the list at colorway number 10 is going to be the root beer float colorway. Now, this is a brown-white mixture that is one of my favorite combination color trout magnets out there. And the reason why I love root beer is for a few reasons. One, you have the white contrast with the brown, which is great in clear water conditions, but also in off-water conditions where that pop of white can be really bright in the water and really get the trout's attention. And the root beer is a great one in all conditions and all bodies of water. It's just a consistent colorway no matter where I fish it, and especially in little creeks as you're maybe pulsing along, whether you're fishing it off the bottom or under a bobber, that brown-white contrast is perfect. And in the fall time when you got a lot of leaves and brown colored debris in the water, that little pop of white from the root beer can really stand out in the water and get you those ultimate big fall bites for those holdover stock trout from the spring or the summer. Plus, every time I have to fish the root beer lure, I gotta drink some root beer soda with it. Now, coming in at color number 9 is the gold glitter, and this is one of my favorite early morning colors to fish. And when it comes to trout fishing or even salmon fishing, we talk about in the early morning when there's not as much light on the water or those overcast days where gold colors do better. And then on the contrast in the summer and then the sunnier days and the brighter days, those silvers do better in the mid part of the day. So I really love the gold glitter, especially in the morning time and on those cloudy days. And here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a ton of clouds in the early springtime. We have a lot of overcast days, and I love fishing with the gold trout magnet. It's just one of my first go-tos, and with that extra glitter, especially on days when you've got the sun popping in and out of the clouds, that gold glitter can have just the right sparkle and can be one of the most deadliest colors out of the packet. But also don't overlook this color in the evening time as well. As the sun is setting, gold at the evening can be one of the best as well. Now, coming in at number 8 is one of the most versatile in all conditions color, which is Chartreuse, because as the saying goes, if it ain't Chartreuse, it ain't no use. For me, for stock trout, Chartreuse is just one of those every conditions, every body of water, every color of water bait that you're gonna want to have. Firstly, Chartreuse is super bright and stands out in the water. Secondly, especially in the dirtier water conditions, you wanna have some of the more brighter baits, and this is where Chartreuse can be one of the best out of all the colors. And thirdly, we just know that stock trout love chartreuse, whether you're fishing power bait, spinners, or any other baits out there. Chartreuse is just one of the best, and it's one of the most reliable ones that I have found to catch stock trout, especially on really, really tough days. It always seems like you can get at least one bite and one fish with the chartreuse. But if there's one condition on fishing the chartreuse the most, it's on those overcast days or those really sunny days in the summer when you need to get that extra bite or just throw something a little bit different that's not a natural type of color. Chartreuse is my go-to. Now coming in at number 7 is orange. Now Trout Magnet has a bunch of different orange colors, but for this one in particular, I'm just talking about the base all orange Trout Magnet. For me with the orange, it's those dark and overcast days. There just seems to be something with orange lures that the trout absolutely love. And especially if you need to fish the Trout Magnet in deeper waters, that orange I think just glows a little bit more than some of the other colors. And again, as your lure goes farther down in the water, it starts to lose that color popness. But for some reason, orange is one of the better ones in those deeper waters. So if you gotta fish a Trout Magnet, say in moving water in 8 to 10 feet, orange is gonna be one of those better colors that you're gonna wanna utilize. Now coming in at color number 6 is black. And especially in the Trout Magnet packs, when you open these up, black is not necessarily the color that pops and catches your eye firstly. However, it is a color that the trout absolutely gorge and love. For me, black is something that you can use all times of the year, but especially in the summertime in low clear water conditions, you want to go to the more natural colors like brown, black, white, even green and red. And for me, there just seems to be something around black in those super clear water conditions, because black imitates and looks like a lot of the grubs and bugs and things that trout are going to eat, including stock trout. Black looks very similar to those hatchery pellets, and that's one of the main reasons why I think it's one of the top 10 that you need to utilize and have in your arsenal. For me, black in shallow ponds and in low water conditions, that's going to be one of your better colors to pick from, no matter if it's the morning, the midday, or the afternoon and evening. You definitely want to make sure that you're giving black a chance and using it to catch those big stock trout. Now coming in at color number 5 is yellow, or as I used to call it as a kid, we used to call it yayo, but no, it's yellow. Now for yellow, I would fish it at all times of the day. And one of my favorite tips with the yellow, because it is a little bit brighter, is to take a black Sharpie and you can put some little dots, some little lines, some markings on the yellow Trout Magnet. It mirrors a lot of the different baits that trout might go after in the summertime, and it definitely imitates a lot of different bugs that trout like to eat. So definitely stock up on a lot of yellow, and then you can customize it a little bit with some black Sharpie, make it your own, and I would definitely say you'll be surprised at how many extra trout you're going to catch going to more yellow baits and yellow lures and yellow Trout Magnets. Now coming in at color number 4 is red. And in the fishing world, if it's red, the trout is dead. They are one of the most deadly colors of Trout Magnet out there, and one of my favorite, again, all around colors for the entire year. I think it's because red imitates red eggs, which trout absolutely love and will gorge on, especially in the fall time frame. There's just a color that the trout go bonkers with in the fall. Now color number 3 is one of the best all around colors that's out there, and something you should never run out of in your tackle box, and that is the pink colored Trout Magnet. No matter the body of water or water conditions, pink is just a good all around. And again, like the Chartreuse, it's going to be much brighter the deeper that it goes. So if you have to fish deeper pockets of water, you definitely want a pink color. And stock trout love the color pink. I mean, how many pink power baits, pink spinners? If you go to the store, there's a lot of pink lures to catch trout. So obviously pink must be a really good color, and that's why it's in the top 3, sitting at number 3. And pink is a great color. You will never regret using it. Now coming in at color number 2 is straight up white. Now white is not a sexy color. It's not a Shazam. It's not like a pink, a Chartreuse, something that's like crazy out there. White is just white. White is just a color that works well in all different kinds of water. It works well in all different kinds of conditions. It's a very natural color. It's a color that every season just seems to catch a lot of stock trout. And for me, especially when the water is super off color, it's super dirty, white is just the go-to. It just catches a lot of stock trout in very dirty, very brown, very just off-colored water. And it's something we have to deal with a lot. We don't get to fish clear, low water conditions all the time. We have to fish high conditions, we have to fish muddy conditions, we have to fish a lot of dirty water conditions, and white is just gonna be one of those best colors that you're gonna wanna utilize. There's just something about the white color in those types of conditions where you're casting and fishing throughout the day, when you've got shade versus sun, it just seems to be the one that gets the most consistent bites. So although white is not like the first thing you would think of or look at to use when you open, like, say, the Trout Magnet kit, it definitely catches a ton of stock trout, and I highly recommend that you fish it a lot more. You're gonna see your catch rate and your land ratio in the net go way up. So now that we've gone through colors 10 through 2, well, what is color number 1? Well, it's gonna be brown. And the reason being is a lot of the grubs, a lot of the food sources that stock trout are gonna eat once they're planted are gonna be brown colored. If you're looking for the best overall, the best colored trout magnet, the one color that you're gonna rely on to catch a ton of stock trout, whether it's today or it's well into the future, you need to be fishing with brown. And for me, when you fish brown, the bobber starts to go down. All right, guys, well, that is my top 10 trout magnet colors to catch stock trout. I hope you guys got some great information from today's video. I got links down below in the video to get yourself the trout magnet kits in the big sizes, the medium sizes, or even little packets. And there are over 50 colors of the trout magnet out there. I would get as many as you can get, test them out, try them out, but those were the top 10 that are gonna catch you the most stock trout. And if you're looking for more trout magnet content, I got a video right here that's gonna give you all the info and all the tips to help you catch more stock trout with the Trout Magnet.